Right now, we want to talk to you about global warming and the threat that it poses. Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali has been in the forefront in the battle against climate change. Dr. Mustafa, good to have you back on the show. Having problems with my return, so I can't see you, but I can hear you. Your concerns now about what we are seeing on the ground in New Orleans and whether or not the president will be able to address the real situation on the ground, which is that these storms are going to keep coming and they are going to get worse.
Well, I'm hoping that the president spends some time or at least flew over Cancer Alley, which is right there between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Because what he will see is, for as far as the eye can see, he'll see petrochemical facilities. He'll see these refineries that are playing a role in the warming up of our planet because of the emissions that are coming out. I hope that he also spends some time with frontline organizations who have been fighting against the climate crisis and environmental injustice for decades, and that he will take information from them and bring it back and begin to incorporate that into these sets of infrastructure bills and opportunities, and also with his committees and commissions, so that we can have a holistic approach to addressing the impacts that are happening in our communities.
Dr. Ali, he is going to do what presidents always do. He is going to go down there. He is going to talk to the people. He's going to tour the damage. And he's going to assure them that the American people are doing all that they can do, as we watch him now board Air Force One to get ready to make that trip. But that being said, is he going to be doing the right thing by those people there? Because that new report we were talking about in our last hour came out, and it indicated that the underlying health conditions for African Americans may cause more casualties than the storm itself. So with that being said, what needs to be done that won't be done just by the traditional presidential visit and FEMA response?
We have to make sure that we are simplifying the opportunities for people to get resources to address not only what's going on in this moment, but also moving forward. The president has influence in that space. He leads all of the government agencies and departments that are going to be moving resources. Everybody, of course, from FEMA and the response that they're doing to the Small Business Administration. It's important that we talk about SBA because we know that there have been studies. The NAACP put a study out a couple of years ago that after natural disasters, white families end up gaining about $50,000 in value because of their access to being able to get recovery dollars, where black families actually end up losing about $30,000 in wealth. So we got to make sure that these sets of opportunities and these resources that run through the agencies, that the president is laser focused on making sure that environmental justice is being incorporated and truly being honored in that. And then as the resources flow, we've got to have real accountability as they move down to the states to make sure that the communities who've often had difficulty and being able to access those, get them. And forward thinking, we got to make sure that we are actually building the infrastructure inside of these organizations to be able to deal with and mitigate the impacts that are going to come.
Dr. Ali, we can't get some black families to take a vaccine, even though they know it will save their lives from coronavirus. In this case, the bitter pill is that their house may be in a flood zone that is going to continuously flood. How do you convince them to move, even if the government says we're here to help and this is the best course forward?
We have to make sure that they continue to be made whole. You know, we've had examples over the years in relationship to pollution where black communities actually asked to be relocated. And we found that white communities got more money for their houses even when they weren't as impacted from the pollution as those black communities. An example is Mossville, Louisiana. So the president is right there in Louisiana. So as we are talking about the relocation of people, we've got to make sure that folks understand that they are going to be able to move to areas that, one, are going to be safer, but that they're also going to receive fair values for their homes so that we can create communities that are thriving and not just being moved from one survival position to another survival position.
Dr. Ali, as you know, we are being attacked by police officers. We're afraid of being killed just by getting behind the wheel of our car. Our voting rights are being challenged. And then comes Dr. Ali coming around saying, you know what, this global warming thing is worse than all of those. What's your pitch? How do you convince Black America that that might actually be the case?
Well, one of it is, we're educating folks because folks just don't know. And James Baldwin said, I got to make you aware of the things that sometimes you don't see. So 100,000 people are dying plus. Sometimes the number is 200,000 who are dying from air pollution. That's more people who are dying from air pollution than are dying from gun violence. More people are dying from air pollution than are dying from car crashes. More people are dying from air pollution than are dying from overdoses from drugs. And all of those things are super important. We got 24 million people in our country who have asthma, 7 million kids, and disproportionately it is African Americans. And when you are impacted by these things, not only is your life being impacted, your wealth is being impacted because in many instances we are uninsured or underinsured. We also end up losing days in education. We lose days at work. So all of these things are impacting our communities. And that pollution that's been impacting us is what's driving the climate crisis that we find ourselves in. So we have a choice. We can either get engaged, we can push people, we can pick up the phone and let people know what our expectations are, or we're going to continue to pay with our lives and with our money.
Dr. Ali, I've got about 30 seconds left, but this infrastructure bill that was just cleared the Senate, and now they're working on the one in the House. Are you convinced, because Washington moves so slow to get anything done, that the infrastructure bill that has been passed will reflect the needs of society right now with regards to global warming?
I think it's a good first step. It's an important step. It builds a foundation underneath of us. As everyone has heard me say across the country, we got to build real accountability in there. And these millions of new jobs that are going to be a part of the climate economy, we got to make sure that Black and brown folks who have been impacted from pollution and climate change are in the front of the line. And we also got to make sure that our communities can create their own business ownership opportunities in this. I'm optimistic, but I'm cautiously optimistic.
Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, been in this battle for decades. I think I see a picture behind you with Abraham Lincoln. As always, I thank you for your time and also your passion on the issue of global warming and climate change.